The use of this presentation is for educational purposes only. The contents and the ownership of this PowerPoint presentation belongs to WordWorks and that you can have your own copy once you type in the link below. Good day class, this is Sir Kenny and we are going to discuss determining factors that affect reaction rate. This is STM006 or General Chemistry 2, Module number 10. Before we begin, let us have our lesson objective. Now, at the end of this lesson, you can say that yes, I can measure the reaction rates of some chemical reactions. These are the topics that we are going to discuss: the particles and collisions, temperature, concentration and pressure, surface area and catalyst, and then we will have summary activity. So what does rate of reaction mean? To simply put, pag sinabi nating rate of reaction, ito yung kung gaano kabilis or kabagal ang isang chemical reaction. Hindi lahat ng mga chemical reaction ay sabay-sabay or pare-pareho ang kanilang reaction rate. Meron yung iba mabagal, meron yung iba sobrang bilis. For example, rusting. When we say rusting, this is the oxidation of metal na kung saan it will take days or even hours at most para magkaroon ng rust. So sa formation ng rust, it can be said that the speed of reaction is very slow. And then we have baking, wherein heat is introduced to the ingredients, and then explosion, wherein the slight exposure of the components of the firework will set the reaction in motion. So why are some reactions faster than others? Let's study the picture. Now, we can deduce based on the image that the ones that are orange in color are the one with the higher amount of energy, as you can see in their facial expression, whereas the blue ones are the ones that are low in energy. You can see also in their facial expression. The collision is more probable to the orange ones. That is because they're the ones who are moving around so fast, whereas the blue ones are very slow moving or not moving at all. The faster the objects are moving, the higher the rate that it will collide with another. Reactions takes place when particles collide with a certain amount of energy. Now, pag sinabi natin na chemical reaction, kailangan merong certain amount of energy present. Kasi ang chemical reaction, kapag nagkaroon nga ng collision between particles, it does not necessarily mean na magkakaroon agad ng chemical reaction. Kailangan mag-collide sila with a certain amount of energy. At yung pinakamababa or pinakamaliit na amount of energy na kinakailangan para magkaroon ng chemical reaction pag nagkaroon ng collision, we call that activation energy. It is the minimum amount of energy needed for the particles to react. Chemical reaction at kung gaano siya kabilis or kabagal ay nakadepende sa dalawa. Number 1, nakadepende siya sa frequency ng collision between the two particles. Pangalawa, nakadepende siya sa amount of energy na kung saan nagko-collide yung mga particles. Under the frequency, we have the following: temperature, concentration, pressure, surface area. So those are the 4 factors that are under frequency. The fifth one naman, na kung saan yun ay yung catalyst, it is under the energy with which particles collide. So, an overview, these are the different factors that affect the rate of reactions. We are going to discuss them one by one. So, reactions do not proceed at a steady state. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pare-pareho yung amount ng rate of reaction sa isang chemical reaction. Meron yung times sa sobrang bagal, meron yung times sa sobrang bilis. Kailan siya nagiging mabilis, kailan din siya nagiging mabagal. Nagiging mabilis siya kapag kokonti pa lang ang nag-undergo ng chemical reaction. Kasi for example, these are our reactants. Yung red tapos yung blue. Now, since wala pa sa kanila ang nagkakaroon ng chemical reaction, pag nagkaroon ng collision between the two particles, between the red and the blue, ang mangyayari dyan ay magkakaroon sila ng reaction. So, they will become grounded or they will become stable pag nagkaroon na sila ng reaction. So ngayon naman, kumonti yung ating reactants. So dito, kapag nagkaroon na naman ng collision between the red and the blue, magkakaroon na naman ng chemical reaction. So habang dumadami yung mga nabubuo nating mga product, kumokonti yung ating mga reactants. At dahil kumokonti yung mga reactants, bumababa yung chance na kung saan yung mga reactants natin ay magko-collide. Habang bumababa yung chances na mag-collide yung mga reactants natin, lalong bababa ang speed of reaction. Okay? So, we can deduce from the graph na kapag mas marami yung amount ng reactants, mas mataas ang reaction. Kapag mas marami yung amount ng product, kagaya dito, mas dumadami yung amount ng products, lalong bumabagal yung amount of reaction. So what can a graph say about the reactant product mix? So dito, steep ang ating slope kasi kokonti pa lang ang mga product. Dahil ang mga nandito pa lang ay mga reactants pa lang which are capable of undergoing chemical reaction. Samantalang habang dumadami na yung mga products natin, kumukunti na yung chances na magkakaroon ng collision, kaya bumabagal din yung kanilang rate of reaction. Let us try to answer this in order to determine if we have fully understood rate of reaction and then collision. So number one, a chemical reaction can only take place when reactant particles blank with each other. So this is collide. If we are going to click and drag, kapag tama, mag-stay dyan. Kapag mali, babalik uli dito sa mga choices. Particles must collide with enough energy to react. This is called the activation energy. The rate of a reaction depends on the blank and the energy with which particles collide. So dalawa yon, energy and frequency. Number 4, changing the blank affects both the frequency and the energy of the collisions. So, pwede natin gamitin ang temperature. Bakit nga ba? Kasi when we increase the temperature, mas nagiging excited yung mga particles natin. At kapag mas excited sila, mas bumibilis yung speed nila. Kapag bumilis ang speed nila, mas mataas yung chances na magkakaroon ng collision between the particles. Kaya, increase in temperature will affect the frequency and the energy of the collision. Changing the blank affects the frequency of collisions of dissolved reactants. So, dissolved reactants daw. So, this is concentration. When we speak of concentration, ito yung kung gaano karami yung reactants na nakadissolve sa water or sa any other solvent. Pag mas mataas yung concentration, kapag mas concentrated, mas tataas yung frequency ng collision. Changing the blank affects the frequency of collisions involving solid reactant. So when we speak of solid reactant, we are speaking of the surface area. Now let's discuss them one by one. Now let's go to temperature. So how does temperature affect the rate of particle collision? Tignan natin yung dalawang picture or yung dalawang image. Sa red one, ang daming nangyayari, ang daming ganap. Samantalang sa blue one, halos walang nangyayari. Where can we expect na mas mataas ang accident rate dito sa dalawang picture? Mas mataas ba siya sa red or sa blue? So dahil dito, mas mataas ang energy, we can therefore state that mas mataas ang temperature dito. At dahil doon, mas mataas yung chances na may mangyari dito sa red na part ng image compared doon sa blue one. So the higher the temperature, the faster the rate of reaction. In many reactions, a rise in temperature of 10 degrees Celsius causes the rate of reaction to approximately double. So bakit nga ba? Kagaya ng sinabi natin kanina, kapag mas mataas yung temperature ng mga reactants, ibig sabihin mas marami silang energy. At dahil mas mataas yung kanilang amount of energy, mas bibilis ang kanilang movement. And dahil mas mabilis yung movement nila, mas mataas yung chances na magkaroon ng collision between the particles. And when these reactants collide, then ibig sabihin mataas yung chance na magkaroon ng chemical reaction. How does temperature affect particle collision? So dito naman, high temperature, dito low temperature. Remember, temperature, kapag nag-increase, i-increase din ang kanilang speed, i-increase ang kanilang energy, kaya mas bibilis ang kanilang movement. Mas mababa ang temperature, mas mabagal ang movement kasi mababa ang kanilang energy. So based on the animation, what can you say about particle collision? Saan mas mataas, saan mas mababa? Okay. So based on the numbers, we can tell that mas mataas ang particle collision sa higher temperature as compared to the particle collision sa lower temperature. Next, concentration and pressure. The higher the concentration of a dissolved reactant, the faster the reaction rate. Bakit nga ba? When we speak of concentration kasi, ito yung kung gaano karami yung amount ng dissolved reactant sa isang liquid or sa any other solvent. Dahil mas mataas yung kanilang concentration, Ibig sabihin, mas mataas yung rate of collision. Imagine this, may 10 tao. Now, yung 10 tao na yun ay utusan natin na tumakbo in any direction that they want and that they should not stop. Ilalagay natin yung 10 tao na yun sa place na kung saan malawak, kagaya ng sa isang classroom. So dahil malawak yung classroom, 10 sila, kahit na magtakbuhan sila ng magtakbuhan, mababa yung chances na sila ay magbabanggaan. We're going to add more persons in that same area, ibig sabihin, mas nadami yung mga tao na nasa loob ng classroom, mas tataas yung concentration. At kapag pinatakbo din natin sila ng kagaya ng bilis nung mga nauna, ibig sabihin, since mas marami sila ngayon, mas tataas yung chance na magkakaroon ng banggaan between the persons. So that is one analogy of concentration. Okay. So, based on the animation, titignan natin kung sino ang mas mataas ang rate of collision. Kung sa may high concentration or yung kung saan mas marami yung reactants, or sa low concentration or yung kung saan mas mababa ang reactants. Okay. Based on the animation, we can say that mas mataas ang rate of collision sa high concentration compared sa low concentration. So, since mas mataas ang collision rate sa high concentration, ibig sabihin mas mataas yung particle collision, mas mataas yung chances na magkaroon ng chemical reaction. Mas bibilis ang rate of reaction. So, let us have another one. How does concentration affect the rate of reaction? We can use up the tweezers to pick up magnesium ribbon and then transfer it here. Now, the bubbles of hydrogen will be produced dahil dito sa hydrochloric acid, nilagyan natin siya ng magnesium ribbon. Dito sa hydrochloric acid, it will react with magnesium ribbon to produce magnesium chloride at it will release hydrogen gas. So how much can it produce in 1 minute? Okay, in 1 minute, it was able to produce 14 milliliter of hydrogen gas. Paano naman kapag mas mataas yung concentration ng ating hydrochloric acid? The blue one, ito yung in-experiment natin kanina, ipinapakita niya dito kung gaano kabilis yung rate of reaction using 1 molar concentration ng hydrochloric acid. Ito naman, yung red naman, ipinapakita niya yung reaction using 2 molar concentration of hydrochloric acid. Ibig sabihin, mas concentrated itong 2 molar concentration. Dahil mas concentrated siya, mas marami siyang amount of reactant na pwede mag-collide at mag-react doon sa magnesium ribbon, ibig sabihin mas tataas yung kanyang rate of reaction. Mas mabilis siya compared doon sa 1 molar concentration. Next, why does increasing the pressure of gaseous reactants increase the rate of reaction? Now, in this case, pressure. Pressure is only applicable in increasing the rate of reaction in gases kasi sila yung mga highly compressible. Solid and liquid are not that much compressible. So, pag sinabi nating pressure, affected lang dito ang mga gases. Now, ito yung original container niya. Mababa ang pressure. We have tig-tatlong reactants. Now, if we're going to exert pressure on all the walls of this container, at dahil gas siya, it will become compressed, kaya mas liliit ngayon yung container. So, magiging ganito yung container, mas liliit. Kasi nag-apply ka ng pressure. Now, dahil mas maliit yung container, mas mataas na yung chance sila na magkaroon ng collision, kaya mas bibilis na ngayon yung kanilang rate of reaction. Next, surface area and catalysts. So, ngayon naman, when it comes to surface area, this is between solid reactants. Kung kanina, yung pressure, it is for gas. Kanina, yung concentration, it is for liquids. So may kanya-kanyang state sila. So, pag sinabi nating liquid, this is under concentration. Pag sinabi nating pressure, this only affects gases. Pag sinabi nating surface area, this affects solid. Now, if the solid is split into several pieces, the surface area increases. What effect will this have on rate of reaction? So mula dito, sa isang malaking box, in-slice natin siya. Ang surface area nitong malaking box na to ay 6. So, kasi meron siyang 6 na sides or 6 na faces. 1, 2, 3, and then sa kabilang side, 4, 5, 6, kaya 6. Nung hinati natin siya ngayon sa dalawa, mas nag-increase na ngayon yung kanyang surface area kasi dumagdag yung mga nasa gitna. Yung space dito ay dumagdag. So, nagkaroon ng increase in surface area. So, dito, original, in-slice natin sa dalawa kaya nag-increase dito sa gitna. I-slice pa natin kaya nagkaroon na naman ng additional surface area dito. So, kapag tinaasan natin yung surface area, mas tataas yung rate of collision, mas tataas yung rate of reaction. So, how does surface area affect particle collisions? This one has a larger surface area, this one has a smaller surface area. But keep in mind na magkapareho sila ng size. Yun nga lang, dito, hinati siya ng ilang beses. Samantalang ito ay isang buo. Let us determine what effect will this have on the rate of collision. Okay. Now, based on our observation, we can say that the one with the higher surface area will have the more amount of collision. Kahit na magkapareho sila ng size, ito kasi yung kanyang surface area ay within the outside walls lang nitong substance na to. So, ibig sabihin, doon lang pwede magkaroon ng collision between the particle and the solid reactant. Samantalang dito, maliban sa space outside the area, may spaces din siya in between. Kaya mas mataas yung kanyang surface area, mas mataas ang rate of collision. Now, what are catalysts? We were able to discuss the 4 factors that affect the rate of reaction under the frequency. When we say frequency, kung gaano kadalas na mag-collide yung mga particles. These are temperature, pressure, concentration, and surface area. Now we go to catalysts. Catalyst is under the energy doon sa dalawang factors na pwedeng magkaroon ng effect sa rate of collision. So catalysts are substances that change the rate of a reaction without being used up in the reaction. So ibig sabihin, hindi siya nagagamit, hindi siya nauubos. Kung nag-introduce ka man ng 10 grams of catalyst sa isang reaction, pagkatapos ng chemical reaction, hindi mababago yung 10 grams ng catalyst. Ang mababago lang ay kung gaano kabilis nangyari yung reaction. Ano ba ang gamit ng catalyst? Iba-iba man yung kung paano sila gumagana, pare-pareho ang kanilang purpose, which is to lower the activation energy. So, this is the reactant, and these are the products. So, dito sa reactants, normally, kailangan niya ng high amount of energy in order for them to undergo chemical reaction. Pero kapag nag-introduce ka ng catalyst, mas bababa yung amount ng energy na kinakailangan. So, for example, you needed 10 joules of energy in order for a chemical reaction to take place. With a catalyst, bababa yung 10 joules. Mas bababa yung amount of energy na kinakailangan. For example, sa classroom. Sa school, kailangan mo ng average na 90 para makasama sa with honors. Ngayon naman, may bagong DepEd Secretary. Sabi ni bagong DepEd Secretary, I am the catalyst of change. Sa akin nag-umpisa ang pagbabago. Instead na 90 ang kailangan na average para maging with honors, gagawin nating 75. So yung una, 90, hindi lahat yun ay makakakuha ng average na 90 para makapasok sa with honors. Pero dahil sa change na in-implement nung bagong DepEd Secretary na 75 na lang ang kailangan para maging with honors, mas marami ngayon ang makakakuha ng with honors na award. Kasi mas pinababa yung requirement. Parang ganun din sa catalyst, mas pinababa yung requirement ng energy na kinakailangan para magkaroon ng chemical reaction. So those are how catalysts work. Here are some examples of catalysts. Nickel, it is the catalyst in the production of margarine. For iron, production of ammonia. Platinum is a catalyst in the catalytic converters of car exhausts. Why are catalysts so important for the industry? Number one, mas bumibilis yung rate of reaction kaya mas mabilis makapag-produce ng mga goods. Pangalawa, it saves time kasi mas bibilis eh. So it will save time sa pag-produce ng mga goods. And then of course money kasi mas bababa yung amount ng maturation rate kesa sa nung walang catalyst. Pangalawa, catalysts reduce the need for high temperatures, saving fuel and reducing pollution. Now, there are catalysts in the living organism. These catalysts are called enzymes. An example of this biological catalyst, or what we call enzymes, is insulin. Now, our body uses up sugar, and that we get this sugar from the food that we eat. Kapag ikaw ay kumain ng excess na sugar at lahat yun ay napunta sa katawan, hindi lahat yun ay magagamit. Some of it will be left in the body. Now, sugar in the blood is necessary, but excess amount of sugar in the blood is unwanted. It could bring harmful effects to your body. What our body does is it will produce the biological catalyst called enzyme insulin na kung saan it will hasten the storage of sugar in the body. Kasi ang sugar kasi, napaka-importante niyan para itapon lang ng katawan natin. Our body will try to store this sugar as a reserve. Ngayon naman, kapag masyado na maraming sugar sa dugo natin, it will prove catastrophic to our body. In order to combat that, our body produces insulin in order to store the blood sugar much faster. Ito yung nawawala sa mga taong may diabetes na type 1. Type 1 diabetes is lack of insulin in the body. Type 2 diabetes is the non-responsiveness of insulin to the blood sugar. And then for the summary of activities, we have your module. So that's it for Module 10.